Hey, what up everybody? This is Steve Bridge coming to you. Today the world was rocked by the Adrian Peterson case coming down, where basically Adrian Peterson was arrested on charges of, I guess you can say child abuse, or basically he told his son to go out and pick his own switch, and people were people all over the world on Twitter, gave in their things, and people come from different backgrounds and things like that. And this is a really 50-50 situation. There's a lot of people thinking that Adrian Peterson is one of the worst people in the world. There's a lot of people thinking that Adrian Peterson is just continue on the way of life, the way that they were raised when they were a kid, and it doesn't really make a difference. But Adrian Peterson is a guy that there's a lot of sort of just last year he lost a son due to child abuse. Last October, I think, is when that was, 2013, and it's just weird. I mean, there's stories out there that like Adrian Peterson is basically the Sean Kemp of the NFL. There's basically people out there that says Adrian Peterson has anywhere up to 8 to 10 kids. That basically he just spreads the love around, I guess you can say. The Minnesota Vikings have gone ahead and said that Adrian Peterson will not be active in week 2 of the NFL. He's not going to be playing in the New England Patriots versus Minnesota Vikings game. I know that if you look at the stats from last week, the Minnesota Vikings, they got a good amount of rushing from Patterson, 3 carries for over 102 yards and a touchdown. Peterson was the main ball carrier, 21 carries for 75 yards. But I don't think there's any way in the world that anybody can be able to pick Minnesota. This is a game that honestly should have sort of played out. The first pairing of Tom Brady against Matt Castle, 2 guys that shared the job in New England. Well, they didn't really share the job at the same time. Tom Brady got hurt. Matt Castle was the backup. Sort of a guy that Bill Belichick sort of saw as a guy that could be behind Brady if anything went down. And that year the Patriots didn't make the playoffs, but they still were a pretty good damn team. If I can remember right, I think they finished somewhere in the world of like 8-8. And if you think of a star team losing their star player like Tom Brady, a Super Bowl MVP, a guy that pulled the team on his back and made sure they won deep playoff games. You would think their season normally would just be over and there was no shot of them moving on. Matt Castle's a guy that I think he got a little bit of a big head from that year in New England. He took the big contract. He went to Kansas City and never really lived up to that deal. He was one of my most hated guys in the NFL when he was part of the Kansas City team. When he got this job with Minnesota, I sort of thought of it as a second beginning, and maybe they would be able to put something together, him and Greg Jennings. But definitely week 2, I say bet the house on New England. I think that I had already picked New England to win this game as it is, but I think no Adrian Peterson, one of the best players in the NFL, no way in the world the Vikings can win this game. I think this is 100% different than the Ray Rice game. I told everybody pick the Baltimore Ravens to beat the Steelers, and that game, the Ravens really did show up. They rallied around their city, and they wanted to show everybody that they could still win without this guy on their team. And it helped a little bit that the Steelers didn't really show up for that game either. But definitely Sunday, take the Patriots to beat the Vikings in week 2. Weird stuff in the NFL.